Not the first one, because I need it for the second show.
Okay.
So, I'll hang it.
I think we have. Anything else? What is happening, y'all? Happy HRW. We are, I can't believe, halfway through HRW 2024. It is Wednesday afternoon here on Fox 26. And of course, we are at another incredible new first time HRW participant, Mutiny Wine Room. Yay! I was very excited about this one. It is a beautiful restaurant, you guys. We're right here on I-10, right off on Studemont, across the street from a lot of other restaurants that are also participating in Houston Restaurant Weeks. And, you know, we go to a lot of restaurants. Chef Eduardo Alpayaga is the executive chef here. We go to a lot of restaurants. We do a lot of TV. We see a lot of dishes. We see a lot of wine rooms. We see a lot of restaurants. But, you know, there's some that you walk into, they're just a little special and they give you a special feeling. And it's got to be intentional because it is absolutely just stunning.
Well, thank you first of all for hosting us here today. We're super excited to be a part of Restaurant Week. I think it's a wonderful thing to do here in Houston for the community. First of all, obviously, I learned today that your mother started all of this, and that to me is a wonderful story. And I think it's so important to continue good causes like this, you know, throughout the generations. You know, we always try to pass things as chefs to our cooks, try to create a legacy.
Absolutely.
And I think the legacy of what Houston Restaurant Week is doing is truly significant, and it has a huge meaning for all of us. It's been very busy. We're super excited because it's been busy. Let me tell you. So yeah, it's exciting, absolutely, to do this. And mostly because it gives us a chance to meet new people, to understand what the community wants, what the community likes, and that is just such a treat for us. So it puts us on the spot, but it's a good spot to be on.
Can you believe, Chef? Now I know you've been here in Houston 10 years, but can you believe it used to be a thing? People didn't like to go outside the loop to try a new restaurant.
Well, I mean, everybody has their comfort zones, but I think in Houston, you know, with all the wonderful ethnic communities that we have here, it's such a melting pot that I think comfort zone has just been broken, and just everybody's going everywhere. Little restaurants are becoming a huge thing. You know, big restaurants continue their wonderful legacy. So I think it's just awesome.
We've got a lot of restaurant legacy families here in Houston, a lot of really special creations. All right, we're going to go to the foodie cam and show you guys, because the other thing that's really incredible, y'all, it's not a $55 menu. I mean, when you walk into this restaurant, you're certainly expecting, I would have expected to be looking at a $55 menu. No, we have a $39 menu. What are we looking at, Chef?
Right here, the first dish is our 5-pepper soup. Talking about that, for us here in Mutiny Wine Room, it's all about value. You know, we want to present to you something that might look humble, might look super fancy, but at the end of the day, it's all about the value you're getting. So
now this is a 5-pepper sweet cream soup.
Yes.
Now, what are the 5 peppers?
What are the 5 peppers? Okay, so we have yellow bell peppers, red bell peppers, poblanos, and then jalapenos, just to kind of create a little bit of sense of originality here. But also, I chose a dry pepper, the smoked paprika pepper that comes from Spain. I think that's a beautiful pepper. It gives obviously a touch of smokiness, but also gives a depth. Okay, and now this is a soup that it doesn't have any chicken stock, none of that. It's just a very light vegetable stock, because we want to keep things light. We also like to have options for those people that don't want to eat animal-based products. So I think it was a good idea to do that, and how the flavor with spices. So we do different I don't want to say secret spices, you know, but
They can be secret.
but
No,
but you
that's
know,
totally
we definitely
fine.
like to add that little background flavor, so we don't lose that punch of flavor that everybody expects from grapefruit. So I think
Yes.
yeah, and of course we have our house-made bread here. We have a huge bread program. I mean, bread and wine is something that we believe on. So.
Chef. Oh my goodness. Now, I can taste every single one of those peppers in there. I mean, brilliant. I mean, this is a beautiful.
Yeah, there's sweet ones, there's slightly spicy ones, obviously paprika ones, and smoky.
But it's the right balance of everything.
Mhm.
You really have, because it can be a little tricky when you're working with peppers.
Yes, it can be, because peppers are a little unpredictable sometimes, you know. So you have to always,
Peppers are
at the end,
unpredictable, you guys. Yeah.
you have to always improvise at the final stages of seasoning and tasting.
I love that.
You know, that's where you put your little touch of things.
Peppers are unpredictable.
Yeah.
I love that. What's another fruit or vegetable that's unpredictable in your eyes?
Well, one of my favorite ones is citrus.
Okay.
You know, citrus sometimes can be very sweet,
Yep.
according to where the season is at,
Mhm.
or it can be very acidic. Sometimes can be very tart. It can have all those elements that can be surprising, and that's the beautiful thing about working in a kitchen. You're constantly working with a live product, and this product it really challenges you every day to pay attention to it
Yes.
and to respect it. So that's very, very important.
See, y'all,
Yeah.
this is why we like to talk to the chefs. They know what they're talking about. It's science. All right, Foodie Cam, another dish coming up here on Foodie Cam out here at Mutiny Wine Room on Studemont. The restaurant opened in 2020 in COVID and is doing an HRW $39 menu for the very first time this year. Chef, what is this beautiful dish? And I see some wine too that we need to talk about as well.
Yes.
That's a very important part of the Mutiny Wine Room.
Absolutely. So this was our take on a Mediterranean salad. Basically, you know, a light dish that is refreshing. It's summer, it's hot outside. Some people want comforting food, like maybe a soup, but some people just need that refreshing first bite that just really gets your taste buds going, and that it tingles a little bit the tongue and the taste buds. So we have a lemon vinaigrette. First of all, very, very simple vinaigrette that just highlights the light vegetables. And then some berries. We have some blueberries, very good for you. And then some locally sourced lettuces, some feta cheese, some herbs, and then also we put a little bit of unusual maybe ingredient for a salad. That we put a little bit of couscous.
Oh,
Yeah, so couscous is one of those. Yeah, couscous is one of those grains that basically allows you to use in different settings. You can use it as a salad. You can use it as a warm dish, serve as a side for meats. I mean, it's a little bit of a chameleon, right? It's a really cool ingredient. So.
I used to live in North Africa.
Oh, wonderful.
In Morocco.
Oh, Morocco.
So
I have a very good friend from there.
Couscous every Friday.
Yeah.
And the tagine.
Yeah.
With the veggies. And
Exactly.
The chicken. My
Yeah.
favorite day of the week.
Yeah.
It's
It's like what rice is for the Asian community, you know? It's like their staple side dish
hot,
to accompany
cold
things with.
soup, plain with
Absolutely.
anything else
Yeah.
you can do, and very healthy too.
Yes, very healthy. Yeah.
So if you were to describe the flavor and the culture of Mutiny Wine Room, what would it be? Because I see a beautiful, gorgeous room over there that's a little kind of a seafood theme on the wall, but there's wine. So what is the overall flavor of the restaurant?
So I think we try to first of all honor the fact that the wine needs to be paired with, right? So our flavors are never going to be too spicy, too salty, nothing that clashes with wine. So we want to find a harmony between these two, between your food and between the wine. So even if you're a first timer to wine and food, it becomes a pleasurable experience. So you can enjoy one in an introductory way that allows you to really enjoy it, even if it's your first time. So,
you know, and I wanted to mention that too. It's very smart because during Houston Restaurant Weeks, a lot of restaurants offer a wine pairing to go along. And it's nice because, you know, I don't know that much about wine. I mean, there's just a lot. You really have to, and there is your wine flight. And, you know, it's nice too, because especially if somebody's visiting you for the very first time,
that's right.
They are not familiar with the kinds of wine. Maybe they are just not familiar with wine in general.
Mhm.
And so diners really appreciate the help to know, oh,
Absolutely.
this is nice with this. This is something a little light in the beginning and then something maybe a little flatter later on. And then as the meal goes, and they learn too,
That's right.
They
Yeah.
know for the next time what to expect.
Yeah, there's always a natural progression in a meal where lightness usually starts the meal because you want to gently wake up your taste buds, but then little by little you start bringing more assertive flavors that can really challenge your expectations sometimes, but also just remind you of significant memories. Sometimes it could be your grandmother cooking, it could be a great restaurant you visited at some point. I think it's all a natural progression. Little by little start waking you up, and it becomes more of an experience. I think at the end, the goal for me is always for you not so much to remember anything is in particular, but to remember your experience as a whole. I think when you remember that experience as a whole, it just brings you back every time.
Is this how y'all? Is this how it talks in the kitchen? Gently awaken your taste buds. Is this normal? I mean, it's like poetry, really.
Well, I think wine is poetry. I think food can be poetry. I think it's a labor of love. It's a craft that takes years to learn and to achieve wonderful results. So at the end of the day, it's a lot of work that go into creating a menu, into creating wine, but into crafting that experience for the guest. I think it's
the balance of it, finding the balance for everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So definitely labor of love.
Foodie cam. We're going to go back to the foodie cam, and then we're going to talk about the wine here in a little bit because I'm getting thirsty. Chef, what are we looking at?
Here we're looking at one of the very first dishes that I created for Mutiny Wine Room. It has become hugely popular, definitely one of our signature dishes. Even though in general, I'm never trying to look to create signature dishes. I think it's cool to keep it exciting, but sometimes people just keep coming back to dishes just because they've become favorite. So the first element here, it's the concept. It's a ceviche. I mean, you can find ceviches anywhere. I chose the snapper because it's one of the most important fish here in the Gulf. So I wanted to give it a sense of place. But then I went thinking about the flavors of this dish, and every culture. You think of Peru, they're wonderful creators of different kinds of ceviche, right? But I come from Chile, so it's a little bit more south, where the climate is different, where the ingredients are different. So one of the main ingredients
is different.
Absolutely, yeah. So one of the main ingredients that I chose for this ceviche, it was this spice called merquén, which is made by the Indians in the south of Chile. And what it is the specific peppers that are smoked. They're called cacho de cabra, like that. Just imagine a goat with the big horns, right? So these peppers are really long and pointy. They're kind of spicy, but what they do, they sun dry and then they smoke them. And then they mix them with coriander seeds, and it becomes the most wonderful spice. So it gives a smokiness, it gives a spiciness, and it gives a depth of flavor that is very, very important, that balances this right here in your hand. Because the balance comes from the sweet potato chips. Potatoes are an important, if not one of the most important crops in South America. They come from South America, and there's 1,000 varieties of potatoes, for example, in Peru or in different countries in the South. So the sweetness of the potato helps you balance the spiciness and the citrus. Now, on the citrus, I chose 3 citrus, oranges, lemons, and limes, to have, again, not clash with the wine. So that's very important, very, very important to be able to do so.
Okay. I may not leave here for a little while.
Okay.
I may just hang out and eat this ceviche.
Yeah.
This is,
of course,
absolutely unbelievable. I mean, everything that you've said is just incredible. The taste is just wonderful. And I like the small pieces of ceviche. I know that's a weird
it's a different thing. Yes.
But I prefer that.
Yeah, okay. So many
that's intentional as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So the mouthfeel, so the mouthfeel when you go to a sushi bar, right? Sushi chefs, they're very specific about the way they cut the fish, sometimes do slow cuts, just for tenderness in the palate, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, what I've done with this fish, because sometimes snapper can be just a little bit fibrous, concerning the size of the fish, right? The smaller the fish, the more tender. So I usually get my Purveyor, Blue Horizon Seafood. They help us, for example, bring only the small ceviche, the small snappers.
The right kinds of fish.
The right size. Yeah,
That
exactly.
Makes sense. No, that makes sense. I just learned something
Yeah.
today because I felt what it was that I was like, I love ceviche,
Yeah.
but I don't like big, huge, chunky ceviche. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
you know,
So
I
this
just-
pretty much melts in your mouth, almost like
it
caviar. You know.
totally melts
Yeah,
in
yeah,
your
yeah.
mouth. All right,
Sure.
let's,
So
let's
that's
talk about a little bit of wine, right?
Yeah,
Because
okay.
we've got a little bit of wine. Once you hold
Absolutely.
that bottle up, and there's a significance here about the owners of this restaurant. We have
Yeah.
to give them a shout out because they are actually the owners of a winery in California.
Yeah, absolutely. Kagan Cellars, and on when we get to the entrance here, we're gonna try one of their wines, which is one of my favorites. But yeah, for example, the white wine that I chose for this one, the Smith Rowe, is a Sauvignon Blanc that has a more tame acidity to go well with the ceviche, because ceviche has its own acidity.
Yeah.
Most Sauvignon Blancs, sometimes, especially the ones from sometimes New Zealand, they can be very floral or all that. But this one comes from California, and the maker, he decided to, his mother is a chef. So she had asked him to please make a Sauvignon Blanc that was not as punchy in the acidity.
We're going to keep talking. We're going to
Yeah.
go to Foodie Cam too.
Absolutely, yeah, go ahead.
So, no, keep talking. Keep
Yeah,
going. Yeah.
but this balances the ceviche in a very subtle way without overpowering each
Now
other.
tell us what we're looking at here.
Okay, so right here we're looking at a Greek branzino that's been pan-seared. I like to serve it with the skin super crispy. So we cook that fish most of its time on the skin. You get this beautiful crackle-like skin, and then underneath,
I'm there with you
Yeah,
for that
and
skin crackle.
and then
because
underneath,
crispy
is you say
skin.
you like couscous. This is the other kind of couscous, just the small kind,
Yes.
which we steam, but we make it almost like a tabbouleh salad, if you will.
Yes,
But it has some
definitely.
few other elements like green chickpeas, which we also use in-house here to make our hummus. So our hummus is always surprising to people because it's green. So we use the green chickpeas for this. And then a nice summer yellow squash that's been grilled. Very simple dish, very light. For usually ladies tend to gravitate towards this dish because they want a light dinner. So it becomes their favorite.
Yeah, no, this is beautiful. Oh, yeah. This is definitely the couscous. Beautiful, beautiful. And let's take a little,
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I love it. Beautiful.
Yeah, and the yellow squash, gives it the flavor of the grill. It's the only thing that's been grilled in this. So you have different elements giving you different kinds of flavors. I chose a white Bordeaux for this.
For this dish, for the
For this
branzino,
dish,
which is
yeah.
your second course. So it's an entree on your second course.
Absolutely,
Yep.
yeah. So this starts our entree options, and it's the lightest of all. So it really goes good with this kind of white Bordeaux, which I would like for you to try.
I would love to. Yeah,
It really
we're gonna try
it
this.
really has a very aromatic nose, some I would say some fresh herbs and some really sweet kind of spices.
Yep.
And then on the palate, it just sits very happy on my tongue. It's just like
Very
it
happy,
sits
very
there. It doesn't go away too fast, so it has a nice
Excellent.
finish.
All right, chef, what are we looking at here?
Next dish, okay, this is our lamb dish with a risotto, which has very light flavors, so lemon, fava beans, and it has a pea shoot and mint salad. We don't like mint with lamb, but I think sometimes in the form of a salad instead of jelly or things like that are so overdone. I think a simple salad with pea shoots and mint just really refreshes the flavor of that lamb.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what my next question is going to be.
Okay.
You've showed me couscous.
Mm-hmm.
You've showed me lamb
Uh-huh.
with mint in it.
Mhm.
So I'm looking for a very specific kind of hot drink now.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we need a hot mint, a Moroccan mint.
Oh, a Moroccan tea. That's very
Mint
sweet.
tea.
Yes, that's very sweet.
Have
Yes.
the mint.
Yeah.
I feel like it could go well with,
I think
with
it totally
beer,
could. Yeah,
you know?
that's a good thought.
Yeah.
That's a good thought.
Just you've gotten me thinking and how to pair drinks with food, and I
Absolutely.
haven't really thought about that before, y'all.
And you know
so-
what? There's a huge trend right now going on with non-alcoholic drinks.
Yes.
And teas are definitely a part of that. You start brewing anything, herbs, flowers, even spices that you can add to your brew, and then create wonderful cocktails. Especially for the summer, man, that's just like speaks volume
the mint in this
Mhm.
is just to die for. I mean, it is the key ingredient. I happen to love mint and everything. I know a lot of people don't, but
Yeah.
I love when it's included in savory.
Yes,
right? You know,
yeah,
it's
and
such a-
especially with the fava beans. Fava beans
Mhm.
are one of the king legumes of
Yeah.
spring, and then they carry towards the summer. So I think it goes really beautifully with
Oh
the
my
lamb.
goodness, this is
Yeah.
this is just it's just so
Thank you.
tasty. All right, next item on the foodie cam. Course, in our second course. It sounds like
okay.
this is one of chef's favorites.
Well, this steak right here, yeah, this is being very good to me. I love this cut.
This cut of steak has a special place in your heart.
Yeah, well, I like to work with humble cuts. I think it's very easy to cook fillets and
Now,
ribeyes,
chef, what is a humble cut?
So humble cuts are first of all the cuts that the butchers used to keep for themselves, because there wasn't a lot left on the animal. There was just a little bit. Nobody really wanted them anytime. It was kind of obscure. So I think in general it's the kind of cut that you want, because honestly, when the cuts come from parts of the animal that do a lot of work, right? There's more blood flowing through there. So there's
Which
more,
is good.
which is good because there's more flavor.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So a tenderloin, as tender as it is not one of my favorite because of flavor. But I would choose something from the shoulder or from the bottom part of the sirloin, like in this one. It's called a bavette in French, but also it's called bottom sirloin, bottom flap. You can find it in some supermarkets. It's really wonderful. It stands the high heat of the grill. And it also cooks, it's very forgiving when you're cooking it. You can cook it medium and it still feels like tenderness, juiciness of a meat rare. So
I'm learning so much.
So it's
today,
really
y'all.
wonderful.
I feel like this is love, because you are so passionate, and I feel like you could just go on and talk about these dishes forever, but I love that. All right, foodie cam, we're gonna go and take a look at some of the desserts, I believe, which is maybe, I don't know, we can argue about what the most important course of the evening would
depends
be.
who you ask. Look at
Depends
that.
who you
Look at the
ask.
hot water right there that's being poured. So this is a chamomile creme brulee and honey. It has a touch of lemon zest. So we pour usually to the table the hot water into a chamomile to create an effect of the aroma. We've done this from day one. So this chamomile creme brulee, it's been infused. The cream, it's been infused as well. So it's been on since pretty much day one. Also,
I've
it's
never
definitely one of the
seen
favorites.
a chamomile creme brulee. I love it.
Well, the reason I did it is because when I was a kid, I was very sick, and my dad, to comfort me, he will boil chamomile in the room. So that aroma has a huge memory for me of my father, of because I had asthma. I had really problems with that. So this creme brulee was like an honor to the memory in a way. Yeah.
I love that, because it really helps you connect with your dishes, and it gives you purpose, and it's just nice overall for dishes to have meaning, I think.
Yeah, and it gives it I think it gives it a significance, something like we were talking about earlier, like the legacy of your mother having created this restaurant week for the community.
Yes.
Same thing. There has to be a connection.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. And just to display, right? So this is, what I mentioned, coming in here, just you get a certain feeling, where you feel like you're home. You're not home, but you're comfortable. Yeah. And I think that's, like I said, intentional. And you guys have done an amazing job with it.
And for this one, I've chosen a white port, Kopke, which is, it's not super sweet like a Sauterne, for example.
Strong.
But it has some heat behind it, but it definitely keeps going.
All right, we're going to take a look at another dish here on the foodie cam. We've got a couple minutes left.
So that's our chocolate and red wine custard. It's almost like a pot de creme, but it's topped with toasted hazelnuts. So hazelnuts and chocolate and wine, obviously, it's just always a wonderful combination. I use a French chocolate, Valrhona. They've been making chocolate for a long time. I use the Manjari, which is one of my favorites. It has a lot of berry notes on the chocolate. So
I like what I'm seeing right now. All right, foodie cam, here we go. Foodie cam, one last dish. Hurry up.
All right, here we go.
Oh, what are we looking at?
Okay, this has been one of the popular dishes this summer. It's our strawberry ice cream. It's basically a play on Southern biscuits and cream, but instead of just slices of strawberries, I made a strawberry ice cream without eggs, just strawberries, creams, and sugar. So it has a very pure strawberry ice cream. Very, very pure.
Not so bad for you too. All right, Chef.
Yeah.
Incredible menu. This is one of those HRW menus that is one you do not want to miss, and it's definitely one that you want to make a reservation for because they have been busy. Make sure you guys check out HoustonRestaurantWeeks.com. Over 400 restaurants participating this year, supporting, as always, the Houston Food Bank in their largest annual fundraiser. And of course, remember the daily gift card giveaways on the Houston Restaurant Weeks Instagram. All you have to do is tag a few friends to win. We will see you guys Friday afternoon right here on Fox 26
Thank
at
you.
1 o'clock for another incredible HRW meal. High five, Chef.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, I'm trying this.